friends. Thanks for listening to Pick Your Battles. I'm Kayla.
And I am Dana. And we have, I know we have said this before, that we have like a special guest.
Every guest is special.
Right.
Yes.
But this guest is super special to me and my family because, can I say obsessed? I can. I will.
Stop.
I'm obsessed with Emily. She is Wyatt's nurse practitioner that we have all just like fallen in love with. And I will just say, after our first visit, we walked out and Jimmy goes, "You love her, don't you?" I was like, I do.
That's amazing. The feelings are mutual. Come on now. That's wonderful.
Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
My name is Emily Rusticus, and I am a nurse practitioner at Granville Pediatrics. I love it. It's wonderful. Kids are 100% my passion. Yeah, it's been a pretty awesome career. So in September, Alex and I had twins. It took us a while to be ready for number 3. We have Blair, who's a 6-year-old, and Elliot, who's my 3-year-old. We were, okay, let's do this. Let's go for number 3, and boom, number 3 and 4. So we are all adjusting, and it is a process, that is for sure. That's kind of me in a nutshell. Oh, and we cannot forget Scout, who is sitting underneath my legs right now in the closet corner. Aww. So, yep, she's our little Australian Shepherd mutt. So
I don't remember what appointment it was, but you walked in and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're pregnant." And you were like twins. Like it took you no time. And I was like,
right.
Are we happy? Is that good? I don't know.
I know. You could go really any way with that. Right. And it kind of would depend on the day where I'd be like, "This is so great. What a beautiful miracle of life," to like, this
that
is
was
terrible.
Me pregnant with 1. So I can't imagine with twins. One day I'm like, I'm glowing, I'm stunning. Yes. And the next day I was like, fuck everything.
I know. Exactly. I hate my life. Yeah. Nobody understands. That is the truth. That is life and motherhood in a nutshell, right? Like the highs and lows and everything in between. We're here for it. Yeah. Part of why I think I just love my job so much is because it's such a wonderful way to connect with other moms. Oftentimes the mom is the one bringing the child to the appointments. I think that's just kind of how it ends up going. And it's just a great time to connect and to really be like, how's it really going? Because I know it's not always great, and that's okay. And let's talk about it, right? Let's be honest about it. That's just like a really cool responsibility that I feel like I have, and a really great chance that I have to really connect with others.
Well, that's really cool that you like check in on the mom, because I feel like even sometimes when I go to my pediatrician appointments with Mason, they're kind of rushed, like there's another person after me, and so it's like we do what we have to do, and then unless I'm like actively asking a question, we just kind of go through the motion. So it's really cool that you take the time to like be like, how's it really going?
And honestly, I make sure that I have the time. I mean, I don't have necessarily the same responsibilities as pediatricians. That's kind of wonderful. Like I can set my schedule and I can set it so that I have a little bit longer time and I don't have to like see so many patients in a day. But yeah, I feel like moms kind of need that too, where it's like, oh, this is actually for more than just my 2-month-old. Well, thank you. Yeah. Like that's important. It's important to me. And I think it's important for all of us moms out there, for just having somebody who's kind of like unbiased, not, a family person, checking in and just, making sure we're doing all right. Cause we need that.
Yeah,
totally. Sure. And I can totally vouch, being on the receiving end of it. I get to see Deborah at the front desk, and I get to see all the other ladies and all the MAs, and like, it's great. So that sort of leads into my first question is, as a new mom, everything is swirling around. You're trying to figure out, what just happened physically. And then in the hospital, you're asked, who's your pediatrician going to be? And for me, I was like, that's a great question.
Talk about that.
I guess I should have figured that out. So from like a medical standpoint, when should that during the pregnancy kind of happen? Like, is that something that should be done? And also, like, what should you be looking for?
That's a great question. And I do think it is important to kind of shop around, right? Because finding the right pediatrician is like truly, finding the right relationship for the next 18 years, which sounds really weird, but it's true. I mean, you're going to see them, you need to trust them. Truly a lot more than your own doctor. A good place to start, probably when you enter that third trimester, start looking around. Most offices will have like either a get acquainted or like I'm new kind of interested type visit where you can walk around, you can ask questions, kind of get the lay of the land and understand how the office works. What do they do after hours? Do they have weekend hours? What do you do if you've been up all night and then have no idea when to bring them in? I think that's an important way to kind of just start the process, and feel comfortable with what's going on. Kind of just really doing your research. And yes, you don't need to do it right away, but certainly it's kind of nice to at least go into the hospital having an idea of what you want and who you want to be kind of taking care of you moving forward.
And what if, there's someone out there that's nervous to go to another provider and maybe be afraid that they're going to like hurt their feelings or have some sort of guilt about it or something?
Huge. And honestly, like we've all been there. Everyone is entitled to that right fit, like a therapist, like any sort of important relationship in your life. It's not always going to be the perfect fit, right? And it's important to kind of, if you have to, shop around to find that relationship. You guys need to find the right fit for you, and that's what's most important.
I do have a question. What is like a piece of advice that you give your patients and other mothers, but you kind of struggle maintaining yourself?
Oh, that is a good one. And there's oh God, I hate saying that there's so many, like that's so bad. I think what's really easy is to go by the book until you are like right there in the thick of it, right? I think a big one is sleep. Like sleep for babies, where parents come in and I'm like, you got to be a hard ass and you have got to ferberize these babies and let them cry. And I mean, then I try to go through it with my own babies at home and I'm like, this is really hard. Like,
it is hard.
So hard. Why did I say that this is what you have to do? Because it's not.
Right.
If that doesn't work for you, we'll figure it out, I feel like that is like the number one. I mean, that is huge. I think sleep is such a hard thing for moms. And I think until I was in the thick of it with kids, it was very easy for me to just go by the book and tell them everything that I knew needed to be said. And then, right there in the thick of it with my first Blair, I was just like, wow, this is so much harder than I could have even imagined.
So, I mean, it's good to know that you also struggle with that, because it is hard.
Terrible.
Especially when
Tears.
There's a difference between the whining cry and the like I want my mom cry. So when that cry comes out, it's so hard to just like wait, see if they'll get over it. So
you really need to do what's best for your family, because it might be something where what's best for the family right now, who's working all different hours, is for their 3-year-old who wakes up in the middle of the night to crawl right on in bed with them at 3 a.m. Totally cool. Like that's fine. And, is that what we would say at the end of the day? Like if we were just reading straight from, the textbook? No, but you just got to do what's best for your family. And I have realized that full on.
I can only imagine having 4 different sleep patterns.
Oh gosh.
And wants and needs.
Lord.
Yeah.
And
having 2 of them be infants, let alone.
Hey, we set the bar real low because we feel like we can just only go up.
That's true. So we had reached out and asked what questions they would want to ask their pediatrician. Maybe they were too scared or too nervous to ask. And we got a few responses. So, and you actually already answered one. One was like letting your kiddo cry it out. A lot of questions about vaccines. People, I feel
another
like
hot topic.
Yeah. So talk about that. Give us kind of let us pick your brain about vaccines.
Sure. What's really nice is I don't feel like our office, like, I don't feel like my patients have that much of an issue with it, because it's kind of like you're screened right when you're like right from the get-go, because we follow the recommended CDC schedule. And this is why. But we're also like very willing to talk things through. And I think vaccines are hard in the sense for some people, just given kind of like the 2000s and beyond. So measles was completely eradicated in the United States 20 years ago. And then all of the sudden, on the cusp of a physician who shall not be named, he definitely screwed the pooch with his theory on autism and MMR vaccines. And I feel like we've been kind of fighting it ever since, which is a big bummer. There really is no truth to it at all. He was actually stripped of his medical license, which is pretty significant. But we're still having, we're still just having such an issue with it. And as a result, measles is back again. Chicken pox is all around. Hep A is a thing. And all of these things are really sad and can be really devastating to kids. So I think, at least from my experience, the biggest thing with vaccines scheduled, what are your questions? How can we work through this? How can I make you feel more comfortable about it? And oftentimes we get to the point where we realize, or families realize, the actual disease is so much worse than the vaccine.
Right.
That somehow they feel comfortable with it, and if that's where I have to get you, then fine.
For me, it's also like, as my daughter's getting these vaccines, they're like, yep, she's getting this and this and this today. And I'm like, hold on, what were those words in those sentences?
Like, can we slow down? And that's,
yes. So I think that's huge, that my pediatrician will be like, we're doing this and this covers this and this. So like, so I can understand and grasp what exactly are these words and things that are going into her body.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot of vaccines. You feel like it's a lot for their little bodies. And that can be really scary, right? And I think it's important to kind of trust the process, trust their wonderful, beautiful immune systems. Because it's a fantastic thing. And we can be so thankful for science, because we have seen historically how devastating it can be without it. And it is. I mean, it's just kind of it's a bummer that we're kind of back to this place where it's like, ooh, like, who do I trust here? Like my friend on Facebook or my pediatrician. That's just the world we live in now. And in a way, I totally get it, because everything is so a click away, and everything can look so legit. So then you're just stuck as a mom, so confused with what to believe, who to believe, what are these words? This seems confusing, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I have some resources that we recommend, which might be nice for your listeners. Obviously, the CDC is great. I mean, it just kind of really spells things out in detail, and spells out really the viruses of concern, why we're concerned about it and why we vaccinate against those. But also the big one that I send to people is called chop.edu. And CHOP is Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania. And then hopefully get some of those questions answered. And then we never, ever, public service announcement, never, ever be nervous or concerned that you are going to sound silly or stupid with any of the questions that you bring forth regarding vaccines. Because I can assure you that if you're wondering it, somebody else at some point has also been wondering it, So that's an important thing to do. And also, at the end of the day, just trust your pediatrician, because they're the ones that have been doing it time and time again and are staying up to date on what's the best practice. They know, they really do know, and they really want what's best for your child. And I think that that's really important to remember too. I can go into detail on, the COVID vaccine and all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, also doing what's best for your family, I think is really important too. So, I'm not gonna, that's one of those that our office, it's optional. Flu vaccine is optional, things like that. And really that's kind of family dependent on what they feel most comfortable with.
So for us, all we know is the babies, the toddlers, the young kids. But like you said, this is going to be a provider that our kids are going to be seeing till they're 18. So we did get, personally got a question about birth control. And is that something that falls under your umbrella? Is that something that when they're, gosh, I don't know.
At what age?
Well, you think about when they first have their period, and we typically like them to at least go through a couple of years after getting their period, just to kind of see what their cycle is going to do before starting birth control. Obviously, if birth control is for other reasons, then we have that kind of a conversation too. But if birth control is for like heavy periods or pain, discomfort, things like acne, things like that, then we have that discussion. But I really like them to at least be like 2 years post periods to have that discussion. And then there's obviously the discussion. I mean, this is like it's a tricky area because, you know, yes, you know, adolescent girls are able to get birth control from their pediatrician without their parents knowing.
I didn't know that.
It's the law. It is the law. But with that, because it gets tricky because they're also under their parents' insurance. So it's got to be billed somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you do have some people who will go to great lengths to like only pay in cash and like make it all sneaky in that way. But what I will say is it's a discussion that we oftentimes are at least able to get the adolescent on board with letting mom know, because it's an important thing. It's an important thing for us to kind of foster that relationship between the adolescent girl and her mom or dad, whoever that is, because yeah, if you're using birth control for the reason of, you know, being sexually active or otherwise, it's important that your parents are somehow kind of in the know, at least for that conversation. So yeah, that's a tricky one. That is for sure.
Well, you're fun with that, Kayla.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Listen, my parents did not let me go on a date. I couldn't go on a date until I was 16, and I was not allowed to go on a date until I was on birth control. So
like they were like
Mason.
Checking all the boxes, going on a date. Okay, but birth control first, had the talk, all this.
Yeah. My dad was like, I have 3 girls. Good. Hell no. Right. I love it. That is, it worked for us. So.
Good parenting right there. Yeah. Now you know what to do, Kayla. You know what to do.
Get ready, baby May.
Oh,
get ready.
Oh, I know. Hey, girl.
You're not going on a date till you're 20, though.
Right. Gotta raise them right.
Exactly. We decided today that Wyatt was gonna be like the protector of Mason.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think they'll make out once or twice. Yeah. But
just to like feel it out, see how it goes. Yeah.
And then
but he will. He'll be like the big brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta
like,
have
what are
that.
you looking at?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love it, guys. That's a good relationship to have for sure.
It's awesome. If they actually hate each other?
That's not gonna happen.
You're right.
It's not possible. I just have such a love for all the babies and all the care that I can give to them from newborn on. I mean, that's probably where my passion lies, is being able to have that relationship early and see them get big and grow. I mean, it's just fantastic. And also, I would say, like, on that front, being able to know who your support people are, like if it's not family, I mean, there's plenty of people who aren't local, but just being able to connect people with different resources is really important to me as well, because stuff is out there, and it, you know, sometimes you're just so overwhelmed in your postpartum world where you're like, I just don't even know where to look. I don't know what to do. I just know that I need help. And that's okay.
It makes you feel because alone too when you feel like that. So having those resources is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Hey. Yeah. That is motherhood.
Well, thank you for joining us in your closet as we are.
Yes. You're very welcome. Thank you, girls. Kayla, it was nice to meet you. And Dana, nice to see you.
I know. This is, you know what's so funny? I just realized, because pandemic baby, this is the first time I've seen your face.
Really?
Your whole face. Other than on like social media, but in person.
Yes.
Wow.
Mask always.
Big deal. big deal. Yep.
Yeah.
I do
That's
have
cool.
teeth. I
You
have
have
all
teeth.
of them, you know.
Beautiful smile.
Hey, that is so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Little COVID
Yeah.
blessing here on this
Hey,
Zoom
we'll
platform.
take what we can for sure. Well, you guys enjoy your night
You as
and
well.
keep up with the podcast. You're doing great.
Thank
you so much,
Yeah.
Emily. We
Yeah,
will
you
see
bet.
you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. See you later.
Okay,
Bye.
All right. Well, that was really great information. And until next time, I guess we'll say, don't forget, it's okay to pick your battles.
And it's okay if you pick the wrong one.